Good evening, everyone. Welcome to On Deck here on FTSN. I'm Russ Morgan. Hope everybody's having a great night. Got like the first week of getting through the first week of spring training. I'm pretty pumped about it, ready to go. Baseball's right around the corner, but a little less than a month, a little over a month, I guess. A little less, I don't know. Yeah, be like a month tomorrow. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Definitely seeing some of the guys that are maybe can make the club. Fortunately, Yankees, my team going through a little bit injury. Stanton's hurt right now, so that's not great. Hopefully, he can get healthy. But besides that, spring training to go good. Hopefully, Stroman gets traded. I really want him gone. I saw a rumor the other day, maybe talking to the Mets, Stroman for Brett Beatty. I'd love that, especially over. Even though Arenado's great, I like Arenado. I just don't like the money and his age. I'd rather go with the youth, save a little money. I know they're going to have to eat. But jumping into it today, we're going to go over some NL Central, AL Central preview. In my opinion, both AL Central, NL Central, pretty wide open. I mean, I guess I said that a lot last year too about the AL Central, and it wasn't that wide open at all. I did not assume Cleveland to be as good as they were. So I guess it's not as good. Not was an incorrect opinion on my part, but I think they're both. I mean, especially the AL Central, I think is going to be really competitive this year. In my opinion, the AL Central is going to be pretty competitive. And yeah, we saw three teams from the AL Central get into the playoffs last year. I don't know if we're going to see the same number. I'm kind of going off of 2 for the AL Central. I think the NL Central could be a little competitive. I think it's kind of always a up in the air type of division, where years you had St. Louis dominating, and then you had the Cubs for a little bit there in their run, and now you got Milwaukee, who came out of nowhere. But I think with some of those, I think it's kind of wide open in the Central. And we got a lot of the NL Central's got a lot of good young players, a lot of good young talent that I continue want to watch, even though I'm a Yankees fan. I love baseball, so I'll watch the NL Central. The NL Central has a lot of great young talent in there that could lead the future of the game. But kicking off the NL Central last year, Milwaukee won the division. 93-69. Started. Hey, they surprised me. I picked Milwaukee as sellers last year, right when they shipped off Corbin Burnes. So they surprised the crap out of me when they ended up winning the Central. And actually what they were three. I mean, NL was pretty deep, and you got the Dodgers and the Phillies and all those teams in the West, in the East, that are there. So I mean, you get third, they get bounced right off the bat. But I was very surprised, and I was wrong in my assessment that I thought it was going to be a rebuilding year for the Brewers last year, but they definitely did surprise the hell out of me and ended up winning the NL Central. But they started off season trading their star closer Devin Williams to the Yankees for Caleb Durbin and Nestor Cortez. Cortez will slot in nicely in that rotation, probably in the 3 slot. A little bigger ballpark for him too. Coming from Yankee Stadium, that nasty stuff he throws, a little funky action, might work a little better for him. In a place like Milwaukee as opposed to Yankee Stadium, because he's not super overpowering. He beats you with the stuff, his funky delivery, so it might be a better spot, better fit for him. On the pitching side, they're getting back one of their 1-2 guys, Brandon Woodruff, was coming back. Was considered they had a solid 1-2 when it was Woodruff and Burnes. Burnes was the original guy there, but getting him back is going to be pretty big for the Brewers. Obviously, you got Freddie Peralta there. I mean, you lose Devin Williams. They avoided, you have an all-star catcher in William Contreras. They got him, avoided arbitration, so he signed for 25. He got an opt-out deal in 26. Pitching, I already mentioned staff. Pitching staff will get Brandon Woodruff back. They did lose Willie Adames, who was a star short, a great shortstop, going to the Bay there, going to San Francisco. So that's a big loss. You lose some offensive numbers, you lose some defensive numbers for them. But they're moving third baseman Joey Ortiz over to shortstop. So it's going to be a lot of good youth movement in Milwaukee. A lot of good young players. Obviously, you got Bryce Terang. You got Joey Ortiz moving to third. From third to short, you're high on Caleb Durbin, who was a guy who was high on with the Yankees before they traded him, but you got to go get that. They had to get those arms. He's a young guy. He'll play third base. The outfield is full of younger guys. You got Jackson Torino, played all last year, was a top prospect when he was. They're expecting a big breakout from him. You got Sal Frelick, who's another guy. Hopefully, you can get another full year from him. Then you got Garrett Mitchell, from who's definitely is a solid center fielder, good defensively, good left-handed bat, but has been fighting that injury bug. I personally always root for Garrett Mitchell because I did coach him a little bit when he was a junior in high school. Not much. I was coaching at that time right out of college on the lower levels. I was doing freshman and JV, but I did help out, in the off season with the varsity team and see him, just see his approach at the plate was amazing. So I didn't have to coach him up too much because he was going to be, if he handled his business in high school, he would have been a first round pick. He ended up going to UCLA, and he ended up going 14th overall, I want to say, to the Brewers. So it worked out fine for him. But to see his approach at the plate, left-handed, I remember I was sitting with a Milwaukee when I was at the time I was scouting. I was sitting with a Milwaukee Brewers scout and hit a ground ball to shortstop, and he's just busting it down the line, hard 90, and we're timing it. He turns to me after he runs. He goes, "Rusted, can I tell you something?" I said, "Yeah, sure." He goes, "That's an 80 grade runner right there." I go, "Why?" Or 70 grade, 80 grades out of it. 70. I said, "Why?" It's the way you see it, the way he runs, his head doesn't move. It's smooth. So he was literally a freshman in college, already a 70 grade runner. He's like, that's just what you want. Head doesn't move. Everything's smooth. No bouncing around. So he's great. So, I think for me, I guess I called it last year, said it last year and was wrong. I think it'll be a rebuilding year for the Brewers. Coming in second place was St. Louis, 83-79. They've done nothing all off season. The only team in the MLB hasn't spent a single dime. And they've been mirrored with trade rumors, and I think that's going to continue all year, and it's going to start with Nolan Arenado. The big question is, where is Nolan Arenado going to go? I think Boston was one spot Arenado was going to go. That's off the table for him. They've been saying maybe he does have a full no trade clause. So they've been saying maybe Yankees, but that trade clause. They've been saying maybe Astros. He did turn down the Astros early in the offseason. So we shall see where he ends up. Obviously, he's a three-time Gold Glove guy. Good with the bat, but he's older and he has 74 and a half, something like that, 75 on the books for another 3 years. So where will he go? I think it's going to be a youth movement for St. Louis. On the pitching staff, I think another couple trade bait guys because I see St. Louis going with that youth movement is Sonny Gray and Eric Fedel. I think those are two other trade bait guys to watch definitely at the deadline. Will be that for St. Louis, they be that youth movement. Nolan Gorman will be starting at second base, penciled in at second base until I think Arenado will be shipped off. Another name to watch for the Cardinals would be Thomas Saggese is a name to watch. Guy from San Diego, California. Got to see him play a little bit when he was going into his senior year. Got to scout him once. Solid player. I think once Arenado's shipped, they'll move him in to a second. Could be a guy could be slot into that second base spot. His natural Nolan Gorman's natural position, obviously being third base. I mean, we'll see. We'll get another full year of Mason Wynn. We'll see what he does. What he does. When we're going to see J.J. Weatherholt, obviously the top number 7th overall pick in the draft last year. We're going to see him. But I don't expect much from St. Louis this year. I think they're kind of on the rebuild They are on the rebuild path. We'll see where Arenado goes, but I don't have really much high expectations for the Cardinals. On moving to the team that came in third in the NL, tied for second, same record, was the Cubs at 83 and 79. Obviously, they got the big deal in the offseason. They added Kyle Tucker, Gold Glove right fielder. If they can get a deal with him, this guy's penciled in for a right field Gold Glove guy year in, year out. That's a great pickup for the Cubs and can move the needle because, in my opinion, the NL Central is pretty wide open. So I feel that can move the needle for the Cubs. Obviously, you're getting another. The outfield's solid. You got Ian Happ. You're getting a full year. You're going to get a full year of Pete Crow Armstrong, guy I really am excited to see play because I got to see him play a handful of times in high school when I was scouting. He went to Harvard Westlake High School in Encino, California. So it's another guy I'm really excited. Smooth left-handed bat, good run ability, good defensive guy, decent arm. So it's a guy I'm really, really excited to see for another full year. Matt Shaw, top prospect, penciled in to start at third base as of now. I mean, the guy's got some solid career accolades. Cape Cod League batting title in 22, batted 360, then set Maryland career home run record in the Big Ten Conference following. Solid speed. He played some second base, so he's got some position versatility. I don't think as of now he needs to play second base because they have Nico Horner there, who's also a Gold Glove second baseman. Will be solid. That's a solid up the middle combination. But I think they got him penciled in playing third right now. We'll see what he does. This Cubs also loaded with some prospects that are MLB ready. You got Cade Horton, who's a right-handed pitcher. You got Owen Cassie, outfielder. Will he have a spot? You got Kelvin Alcantara, who's another outfielder who was also in the other day. I had a base knock. So, they got ready arms, ready outfield guys. So we'll see what they do. On the pitching side is pretty solid. You got Imanaga, you got Justin Steele, you got Jameson Tyone, you add Matthew Boyd from the Guardians. So I think the Cubs are definitely in line to compete for the NL Central this year. Moving on to the Reds, who went 77 and 85, added Brady Singer in the offseason with the Royals. Did lose Jonathan India, but Brady Singer, the staff looks solid. You got Hunter Green, guy who's throwing 100+. You got Nick Lodo. You put in Singer right there. When will we see Rhett Lauder? When will we see Chase Burns from Tennessee, who is the 2 or 3 pick, overall pick. Then you go out, you add another infield guy. You add Gavin Lux to a solid infield. So he's penciled in a third right now because you're getting Matt McClain back, who is solid. I watching a little yesterday, got a little base knock against the Dodgers. It's going to be a solid infield. Obviously, infield's kind of loaded. You got the human highlight reel in Ellie De La Cruz. You add Lux for third base. You get McClain back, so that's pretty solid. You add Austin Hayes, who's with the Orioles, with the Phillies. But I'm really excited about the Reds this year because you add Terry Francona. And I'm not just, I think they can compete with the players they got for the NL Central title. But Terry Francona makes all the difference. Obviously, two-time, shaking my head, World Series champ with the Red Sox. Obviously, broke the curse. Obviously, was it 2016? Took the Indians from a couple pitches away from winning it all with the Indians, now the Guardians. So I'm really excited, but I think that makes the difference. In my opinion, the Reds are going to compete are going to win the NL Central, and Francona just takes them from a good team to a team that can go to the next level because you got Terry Francona, because he's one of the best managers we've seen in this time. Rounding off the NL Central, we got the Pirates, who were 76 and 86. You had Andrew Heaney, you had Kiner Falefa, you had Tommy Pham, but this team is really young. Highlighted by my man Paul Skeens. Who doesn't love to see Paul Skeens? This guy's solid 3-pitch mix. We obviously saw him, what Skeens did in a limited time. His strikeout numbers were insane for a guy who only pitched 130 plus innings. I think we're going to see him a lot this year. I think he's going to take it by storm, and I'm really, really, excited to see a full MLB season of Paul Skeens. This great headline moving. I mean, the pitching staff's really young. I mean, you got Jared Jones, who is another guy who's from that Orange County area, La Mirada High School. Exciting guy to watch. You got Mitch Keller. You got Bubba Chandler. I think that's solid. When are we going to see top prospect Thomas Harrington, who might make his debut, was 7-3 last year with the 2.61 ERA in 2024. Outfielder, I mean, you got Brian Reynolds, who's been with the Pirates for a long time. You got Nelson Cruz, and Tommy Pham. The DH spot, you got future Hall of Fame Andrew McCutchen. So I think it's a wide open division, and even with the youth movement in the Pirates, they also got Bubba Chandler's another guy they got penciled into the 5. So I mean, even with the Pirates with that youth movement, I think they can compete and maybe shock some people because it's such a wide open division. Moving over to the AL Central, we got Cleveland ended up won the AL Central at 92 and 69, lost in 5 games to the Yankees in the ALCS. They did trade Josh Naylor to the Diamondbacks and lost Matthew Boyd to the Cubs. That Naylor acquisition is going to be a big one. That's going to be a big loss. You also traded Andres Jimenez to the Blue Jays for prospects. Not Pirates. And you lose Eli Morgan. Jimenez is going to be a big loss. Jimenez is going to be a big loss. Naylor, a solid offensive bat, will be sorely missed, and it was a large part of that ALCS team. Obviously, Jimenez, not as much with the bat, but a 2-time Gold Glove second baseman, could leave a massive hole in the defensive side. They do sign former Cleveland Indian, now re-signing with the Guardians, Carlos Santana, to take over first base, and re-sign Cy Young pitcher Shane Bieber, coming off that Tommy John. Bieber will headline that staff. So, I mean, I think in my opinion, I think the Jimenez deal was foreshadowing. Maybe we see Travis Bazzana sometime in this year. But, I mean, re-signing Bieber is huge because this guy's a Cy Young guy. And the staff's really, really thin. We'll see when Shane Bieber comes back. That's solid. But, I mean, on the offensive side features Jose Ramirez, one of the better third basemen in all of baseball. You got all-star Stephen Kwan. In my opinion, I see the Guardians taking a little step back this year. I see him taking a little step back just because of what they lost. And I would say that was another one I was wrong. I did not I did not see that, but I mean, you lose Naylor, you're going to lose a little offense on that. You lose Jimenez. That defense, his defense was massive. So I see them taking a little step back, but I think it's the AL Central is pretty wide open too. Uh, Coming in at finishing second was Kansas City, who was 86-76, second wild card, lost in 4 games in the ALDS to the Yankees. Biggest loss was obviously Brady Singer, but they did add Jonathan India. India will be a massive acquisition. Obviously, this guy's got position flexibility on the defensive side, played second base with the Reds, but can play third because he played third in college at University of Florida. I think this is going to be a massive acquisition and help this team massively. They also signed closer Carlos Estevez to be their closer, and it was one of the better bullpen pieces on the market. They extend Cole Ragans. And that's a solid one because I think Ragans is a guy who could definitely play for the Cy Young this year. So I see them making a huge step. The offense has some solid players. You get hopefully a fully healthy year of Vinny Pasquanino or Vinny something. I don't know. I mean, you got the wall behind the plate. You got Salvador Perez, who definitely will be in Cooperstown by the end of his career. And to lead this guy, you got MJ Melendez, who will probably move into the outfield with that acquisition. And then you add the best shortstop in baseball with Bobby Witt Jr. So India Witt, that could provide a solid double play tandem up the middle. I mean, the staff features a solid one too with Cole Ragans and Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo was a definite surprise. Obviously, he finished second or third in the Cy Young voting last year. So that was definite size. In my opinion, huge step forward. Obviously, you're not making much. I mean, they obviously made the playoffs last year and lost in the ALDS, but I think they win, and they're going to be definitely competing for that AL Central title this year. Coming in, who ended up getting third place was Detroit Tigers, 86-76, lost to AL. The Guardians in 5 games. They're a very young team, but could take a massive jump. They added a couple big free agents. Obviously, you had Gleyber Torres from the Yankees, who's going to slot in nicely as second. You had Jack Flaherty, who was on the Tigers and the Dodgers, was a massive part of that postseason run in the World Series team. So that's going to be solid. Torres will slot nicely at second base and hit at that top of the lineup, moving Kobe Keith to first. What will they do with former first overall pick Spencer Torkelson, who struggled? Will we maybe see a trade with him? Maybe a change of scenery will be good for Torkelson because he struggled. Also, you're getting back third baseman Jace Jung, only had 79 at bats last year. You're moving Matt Verlaine in the outfield. The outfield very young and very promising. You got Riley Green who's solid. You got Parker Meadows. You got Viren. Shortstop is a big question mark for me with Trey Sweeney right now penciled in. You signed Javi Baez a few years ago. He had that hip injury. He's started fully hitting and defensive drills. Supposed to be back opening day, but the pitching staff is strong. Headline should be back by opening day. Pitching staff is strong, headlined by Tarek Skubal. And then you had Jack Flaherty, who had that unbelievable bounce back year with the Tigers and the Dodgers. I expect that a solid one, too. You pencil in top prospect Jackson Jobe, who got a little cup of coffee last year in that 5th spot. And you're getting back former number 1 overall pick Casey Mize. So I think that's going to be solid, in my opinion. They will be competing for that title all year. Let's see, Tigers. Got some really exciting prospects too. Obviously, you got Max Clark, who's rated number 6 overall prospect. Yeah, you had Bryce Rayner, who's another. I mean, these guys aren't good, but Max Clark, that's going to be a guy they're projecting 27. Rayner projecting 28. We'll see what they do. So there's a lot of exciting players that not are just on the MLB roster, but guys you should be looking at in that farm system that could make an impact. On the moving to the next team, who ended up coming fourth was Minnesota. Down year for Minnesota. Down year, 82 and 80. 82 and 80, definitely down year for Minnesota on that end. I mean, the pitching staff took a little. I mean, you got Joe Ryan headlined by Pablo Lopez. What will they do with Carlos Correa? Obviously, Correa's penciled in short. Right now, I'm really, really watching in Minnesota would be Brooks Lee. Brooks Lee, this guy's just an ultimate ball player. Obviously, advanced above his years. So he will be penciled in second base. He obviously got Royce Lewis, former number 1 overall pick, from another guy from Southern California, from J. Sarah High School, will be at third. You lose. I mean, they got Walker Jenkins, a guy, 26. Emmanuel Rodriguez is a guy we could see this year, and Luke Keishel. So, I mean, I'm not expecting much from Minnesota. Obviously, you got Brian Buxton. Excuse me, struggling with that, even though it's not too hard. But he's off injured. I think it's going to be another down year. And then wrapping up the AL Central would be the White Sox. So what to say about the White Sox? Worst White Sox last year, 41 and 121, worst record in MLB history. So one thing I can say about the White Sox is prospects. There's not much going on the south side of Chicago for the White Sox. I'm expecting to see Carson Montgomery this year. See him get Colson Montgomery this year. 6'3" shortstop. Left-handed hitter. 45 hit grade, 60 power, 55 arm, 55 field. Physical left-handed shortstop. I don't like comparisons, but they're saying he's comparing more to Corey Seager, which is a hell of a comparison if that is. He's got some below-average speed out of the box, moves well for a shortstop, makes plays with a quick first step. Chicago believes he will stay at shortstop, while some scouts think he could be a plus defender at third base. He did spend some time at third base too, but when will we see him? Obviously, a big one would be they add Kyle Teal from that Garrett Crochet deal. Obviously, when will we see Kyle Teal? Teal was rated as top prep prospect, but ended up going to Virginia. Sound left-handed swing. Obviously, I don't know if any of you saw that video. I was kind of confused the other day. I was kind of confused the other day. They saw Hiroki Sasaki pitching. He was pitching to Kyle Teal. I'm like, why is he pitching to Kyle Teal? But, I mean, Teal took him yard. It was a sweet, smooth left-handed swing. So when will we see him? Obviously, it's let's see what he did last. Oh, shoot. Hit something. That's what I hate. 288 last year. 13 home runs. We'll see. I think he's going to see him this year. I think you could see Hagen Smith, but that's another guy I really like from Arkansas. But they're projecting them 2026. But you get that nice hole. My question, anybody out there, when are we going to see Luis Roberts finally leave the South Side? He's been on that trade market for a long time. When are we going to see him? But don't expect much from the White Sox this year. Is Andrew Benintendi going to get traded? I mean, is the other one? You got two guys who were solid MLB contributors. When are they going to get shipped off? But I see the White Sox being a little better, but I don't see 121. But I definitely see 100 plus losses from this team, and I'm sure the ownership and will wants that because you keep on getting those high picks. But I mean, my opinion, AL Central, Kansas City, Detroit, NL Central, I got the Reds. I'm high on the Reds for the second straight year, just purely on the players, but Terry Francona. But those are my opinions. Obviously, spoke about it last week. I'm high on the Reds and the Royals. But I mean, anybody out there good? I think we've had some good things from the first week of spring training. Obviously, Alex Bregman's looking really good. Jason Dominguez, not as much. Still needs some work from left field. Dom Smith dropped another home run. Guy I played against in high school when I was a senior. He was a freshman, was a freak as a freshman in high school, and obviously got drafted by the Mets 10th overall. So, I mean, he had an absolute tank today. Winner, I'm thinking we see some names here soon. I think maybe Stroman. The Mets, you lose Montas for a while. You lose Minaya for a while. So I think the Mets are on the looking for some pitching, and we'll probably get some more. So I could see Stroman out there. Arenado. Will Roberts get shipped? I don't know. I think we could see a little movement before opening day, which is right around the corner. I'm pumped for it. Ready to go. But everybody, thank you for joining in. Please remember, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Russ Morgan. This is On Deck here on FTSN.